Right, jumper.
Oh, well, thank you. You know what? It's just got a little bit chilly. So I'm going to say hello, everybody. This is the 30th. Oh, my goodness. 30th of June. I'm clapping because I'm trying to remember. And it's 2020. And this is episode 8 of ETN's The Latte Lounge, where we discuss various things that we have had experiences of. And in particular, my interest has been in health and wellness and short, sharp, effective methodologies to help you stay well and your loved ones, of course. And Penny and Pat have been with me as my ardent companions on this trip so far with various things. Today, Pat's going to be talking about a horse who's experienced trauma and her work and communication with him. And Penny is just such a cornucopia of information. I'm going to let her tell us what that is in time, but I'm just going to start the ball rolling because I wanted to tell you guys about something called Super Brain Yoga. This is something I found out about and probably told you about, Penny, ages ago. And, you know, it's like all of these wonderful things, we forget them, we get on with life and they go back to, the back of the brain. And there they stay until they come out to be dusted. Or I do something like this and I think, aha, that's a thing I've forgotten about. So there's a wonderful German nuclear medicine doctor called he's German, called Dr. Manfred Doepp. It's D-O-E-P-P. So excuse me if I'm saying that name incorrectly, my German friends. Or anybody else who knows how to say that better. Now, Manfred Doepp, back in something like 2000, probably 8 and 9, was talking about electro smog. And of course, we know that as EMF pollution in UK speak. But he was talking very much about that. And he talked about switching and de-switching. And what switching is the addiction we have. And, you know, I have to be careful myself to our phones, and not so much even having it by the ear, but, you know, looking. And I notice that when I spend a lot of time doing it, my eyes suffer a lot. And I think this, you know, I can't be unique that. So I think a lot of people would be having some challenges in the longer term. You know, I don't mean that, you know, in a bit of use, a short bit of use. I'm talking about extreme use, especially with gaming and that kind of thing, where it requires a lot of mental energy. So this wonderful gentleman, Dr. Manfred Doepp, has been showing how to de-switch. And what he says is that, and I'll put some websites up and some video links later that he has already done over the years, showing what I'm going to show you now, if you want to see a little bit more and hear him speak. He speaks both in English and in German, the broken English, but it's very good. And he was talking about the EMFs, the electro smog, which is a great way to speak, to reference it, is actually creating a split in our left and right hemisphere and our other brain functions. So everything is becoming compartmentalized. Now, isn't that the truth, really? You know, so I'm just going to show you a 1-minute exercise, and I used to do this now and again in the shower, and I just forgot. So I'm going to start doing it again, start taking my own advice again, and hopefully Penny and Pat, you might find this of use too. So what you do, it's about harmonizing both sides of the brain. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to cross it over, and my left hand goes underneath. So always the right hand in anything you do with this, right hand on the top. And then you're going to go along these eyebrow ridges here, okay? And you're going to massage them for just 20 seconds. So I'm going to show you the technique. I'm not going to do it for the 20 seconds, but you can time yourself and do it yourself another time. So here we go. So the thumb is just under, and then we're going to take the fingers, except we're crossing. So you can't see my eyes probably, and you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just squeezing. Now, do you remember when I was talking to you in another episode about this area here and how I was using the magnets? Because all the zone entries here or energies here coming through the meridian system are all impacted. So the same, as we're doing this de-switching process, we are massaging the acupressure points. And actually you will find, I'm finding that's a little bit painful perhaps on this side a little bit. And as you go through, it helps to relieve any congestion there. That's what that's doing. Right, so that's this part. 20 seconds. Second 20 seconds is this bit. Just move my hair. I'm getting to be a bit of a shaggy dog story here. So you're going to take, again, right hand over the top, left hand, it's a little bit tricky this. Right hand, I don't know if you can hear me properly. I feel like I sound like I'm in a cave. Right, so I am holding and pulling on both my ears from the top, and I'm massaging down, massaging through. And remember what I said about the ears and the reflexology part, all reflecting all the organs of your body. So I am giving a really good pull and moving those ears around. And you do this for 20 seconds, guys and girls. I know, doesn't it look ridiculous? But hey, you don't have to everybody's watching. And I'm doing it for you, so you can have me looking daft. Just show somebody the video and say, this is how you do it. I'm not going to show you. I feel too embarrassed. Okay, so I'm going to say that's 20 seconds, and your ears should be nice. I think you can't see, but yeah, pink. Look at that. So nice. As Dr. Doepp says, the pinker, the redder, the better. So that's 20 seconds, 20 seconds, and another 20 seconds here in 2 lots. First of all, we're using the pads of the little. Oh, I've got a hair. Using the pads of the tips of the little fingers. We're going to take one here, just under this part here, it's called a philtrum, between the nose and the lip, and here between the lip and the chin. And we're just going to do a little massage, 10 seconds. La 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 la. 10 seconds, I'm going to say it's done. Do it for 10 though, and then the other way around. Yeah? Now, what we've got here, so I'm going to say that's 10 seconds. We've got 2 huge meridian points here, governor and the conception point. These have a massive control effect on the whole of the body. And when you are also using these little pinky pieces here at the tips, it's to do with the heart and the small intestines, and then we're massaging through here, and that has a fantastic, I actually feel clear. I've been doing a lot of work today. Pat will attest to that. Not contest it, attest it. And I was feeling quite tired, and just even doing those few seconds has actually made me feel a bit brighter. I'm not kidding, I really do. I was feeling a bit like that, and now I'm feeling better. So look, guys, this is called de-switching, 1 minute a day. And if you can do it for a couple of times a day, fantastic. What this helps you to do is to harmonize the brain, is to bring the 2 hemispheres together. And what this does, it actually increases your intelligence. And you think, well, how can that be true? She's telling some porkies. I understand why you'd say that, because it seems, how can something so easy be causing something so profound? Well, this isn't going to happen overnight. This might take a couple of months or 3 months or more, but it is going to happen. Now, there's another kind of super brain yoga I want to share with you, and then I will hand over the floor to the lovely ladies here. I just want to tell you this whilst it's in my head, because I've been revising this, and there was even a neurobiologist, occupational health therapist, and other teachers and all kinds of people who have been using super brain yoga. And I have worked quite a lot of my life with learning disabled folks, and not so much with the autistic strata, but some people have. And those folks, the ones with autism, when they are very compromised with certain energies, they find a lot of expression through anger and aggression. That's not great for anybody. So this, and I'm going to catch up on that point in a second, but I want to show you the technique that this technique comes from ancient India. So this isn't just something developed in the West. This particular one, which is very, very similar to Dr. Manfred Doepp's work, and I'll leave some, as I said, some contact details on the bottom, or reference details, can't speak. But this other one, this is where, again, it's the right over left. And this time you are just going to hold on to the lobe, and your thumb needs to be facing out. So there and there. Now, what you do with this, now I'm sitting down, so you're not going to see this. But as I say, I'll put the links where you can see somebody doing this. But what you do, you're standing up, and then you're going to, as if you're going to do a crouch down. You don't have to go all the way down, but a crouch down. And what you do, as you're going down, it's a bit counterintuitive, and because you feel you want to do the opposite, and you exhale, rising, inhale, and exhale, rising. Now you do this. What the Indians will tell you is if you do this 14 times facing the east. If you can't be bothered about facing the east, and by facing the east, it's an energy thing. And if you are a little bit compromised, if you're an older person, you have some aches, pains, ills with your body, they say face the north. And so you can research that bit of information. But what they say also is if you do this just 14 times, once a day, that will be enough. Now, I want to tell you what's happened with one of the children. There's a 7-year-old little boy with quite severe autism, very aggressive, very angry, would punch, kick, hurt the teacher, hurt himself, banging his head against the wall. Well, this teacher managed to engage the kids enough, all of them in the school, or in the class rather, to do this. And there's a lovely photo, a video of them up and down in the breathing. And within, I can't remember what she said, however many weeks it was, very short time. It wasn't many months, it was many days maybe. They were doing it every day. This little boy stopped completely his aggression. Completely, and the teacher was absolutely astounded. And then we have a wonderful neurobiologist speaking. Again, he's demonstrating it, and he said, and he shows you some brain scans. Now look, if you guys need evidence, go and have a look at this work. It shows you the brain scans after a period, and again, sorry, I just lost track of what time that would be. It's not a long time. You have to be doing this a few days, and maybe even a few weeks to get this kind of reference again, which is that the brains are in harmony with another, they're communicating, and you can see this in the brain scans. It is absolutely fantastic. And one of the teachers of this system was saying that they did not a before and after, a control group. So they had a set of students doing the super brain yoga, that's the standing up and down one, which is 3 minutes. You do that for 3 minutes or 5 minutes if you can manage it, or for 14 times. Okay, you just have to stop this video and listen again. I just want to get this information out to you, so I've got that done. And anyway, so where was I? So I was telling you that, so he said, so sorry, I totally lost my thread for a second. So the control group did nothing. So they just did their usual schooling, no issue, no problem, nothing special or whatever about the group. And then the ones who did the super brain yoga, guess what? It was a 33% increase. 33, that's huge. That's huge, guys. Imagine, and you don't have to be children to do this. So you can do it. So what it helps you do is have a clearer, less anxious mind. It helps with depression. It helps with all kinds of issues, and neurological ones too, if you can manage to do this activity. And even if you can't manage to do it for 5 minutes or 3 minutes a day, that's the up and down one. Do the one with the eyebrows and the ears, and that one. So there's 2 different types of super brain yoga. I mean, the Dr. Manfred Doepp one did not come under the banner of super brain yoga, but it is. His comes under the banner of, de-smogifying your brain from all the EMF. And, this kind of information, it's invaluable. And you know what? It's free. You're not paying for it. What you're paying for it is your time. You're spending a little bit of your time to get this invaluable knowledge. So I do hope you find that helpful. I will reference a little bit more as we go on in the show tonight. But having taken up this time now, I'm going to hand over.
Just to come in very, very briefly. Brilliant, because it sort of struck a chord with me what you were doing with the, on the left.
Yes.
a lady called Donna Eden.
Yes, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Energy medicine, and I remember wanting to go to one of her workshops, and I couldn't. There was something that stopped me, and I was so disappointed. And I think a lot of it's online because she's not into it for money.
Yeah, I saw her when I was just researching this again. Yeah, you're right.
And the other thing with the programming and so on, it's all, especially with the teaching, because I taught 27 years comprehensive. The right side of the brain I want to shut down, because that's our creative part, and our link with the consciousness, and it's a lot of left brain activity, which is why drama, art, music and so on, dance and that was played down, and maths and science and so on. So that obviously the brain is just saying it needs to be linked together, the left and right hemisphere. And there's one way, and I think this is from learnt this when my husband and I were in India, and that's alternate nostril breathing.
Oh, right. Yes, I forgot about that one, Penny.
Yeah, which again can all link together with what you've done, because it's all again like...
Absolutely. So can you just describe, Penny, how you do the... I mean, I can imagine how you do it, but, is there a timing on it? Is there a...
It's just normal breathing, but you just breathe through each nostril alternately, through holding your nose, like so. You breathe in, and then out, and then breathe in again, holding one nostril, and then the other nostril. And so literally you're just swapping over the fingers on the nose to hold the nostrils closed, and that just literally links the hemispheres of the brain together because of the oxygen coming in, which is brilliant. I
mean, we have really, we don't need to suffer too much. We have so much at our fingertips here, don't we? I mean, it's just a reminder for me too. I mean, I'm putting this out for other people, but I'm reminding myself this is a good aid memoir for me, because I shall be going back into the episodes of the Latte Lounge for my own referencing, because these are so fantastic, and the research on them it's not just a fallacy. This is something that's been looked at and tried and tested, and a lot of very serious research has been done on it, and I think it's just wonderful that you and we can all have the benefit of that work. So
cheers.
Yeah.
Really good.
Thank you for that, Penny. That was really interesting. And so we're going to hook in now with our wonderful animal friends, and over to Pat, who's going to tell us something about some experience that she had with healing a horse, or helping the healing of a wonderful, beautiful horse who had some trauma. So Pat, perhaps you can lay the foundation, give us the background to what happened and what the situation.
Firstly, I'll just say about going back to your breathing.
Oh yeah.
There's also not I know a lot about it, but I have been around somebody who knows quite a lot, and it's Kriya Yoga. And Kriya Yoga, it's more than just breathing through the nose, although they do the alternate nostril breathing, but it goes right down into like the stomach, and it's very, very deep form of breath work.
Yeah.
I found it very, very difficult. Made me feel slightly sick. Don't know why. Sorry.
One more reason just to have a go and see how we go.
Yeah. But it was a lot of people. I've got a friend who was joining me, and she loved it, and she does it. I think she does it every morning. Yeah, and she finds it really, really useful. So that's interesting.
How do you spell it? Kriya.
Yeah, Kriya, Krya.
Yoga, that'll be online.
Krya, I think it is.
I'll see if I can find a link to that, Pat, and I'll put that up at the end.
Yeah, I can. The lady who does it is quite well known for doing it in Cornwall. I can send you the link. She comes out of the Peace Mission, but I can send you her email, a link where they're actually talking about. They've started doing more courses online now for obvious reasons, and I think that's very successful. So, or you can actually go down to her retreat down in Cornwall.
Lovely, thank you.
So just another link if people are interested in doing more. More breath work. Yeah.
Power of the breath.
Yeah. Right, regarding horses, I thought I wanted to just follow on a bit from last week when we were talking about bereavement, pet bereavement, and animals passing over. Because I did have a case where a lady contacted me some years ago now, but I've just revisited my case notes just to remind me. And her horse actually died through a terrible accident. I can't remember what the accident was, but it was very tragic, very quick, and extremely distressing for her. And she'd been carrying this grief for a number of years. If I remember rightly, I think it was over 10 or 12 years. And she came to me and she said, I really, really need to be able to move on and let this go. She said, because it was affecting her other horses, I think, because she just, they would be able to read her grief. And so I contacted this horse, who was able to give her a lot of understanding around the situation. And where the accident had looked terrific, he said that he had passed over really quite quickly. And although the injuries looked awful, so she found him, and it looked awful, but he said that she passed over, and he was very glad that she had contacted me, because he went into some detail about why he had passed, which was effectively his time. He said something like that he had taught her all she needed to know in this lifetime. And he then went on to explain that she was holding herself back from her work, from her soul mission, because she was so immersed in the grief that she couldn't get her head around it. And he really was encouraging her to take up the reins again. So that was a lovely story, and she did, I believe. And we had a long discussion about 2 weeks after I submitted the reading to her, and she said she felt a lot lighter, and she was carrying a lot of guilt. And of course, there really was no need for that, but she was carrying a lot of guilt about the accident. But it was one of those accidents that could happen in any circumstances. So I just thought that was quite an interesting story, and it helped her move on big time. So, with keeping the horse theme in mind, I had another lady approach me who, some years ago now, who I didn't know very well, and she had a horse who, I think he was not a young horse, but he went lame. And I think I've told this story before, but he ended up being lame on both his front legs. So I was called in, the vet was called in obviously, but I was called in to see if I could get to the bottom of it, because both she and I felt it was a call for attention, and it was, in fact. And when I contacted him, it was quite interesting really, because after I'd done the communication, she went down to his field and he was just galloping around the field. Like, yeah, that's fine, got the message, don't have to hobble anymore. She said she was just amazed. It's like, oh, how did that happen? Because he was giving symptoms of being extremely lame and in a lot of pain. And there he was, perfectly all right.
Incredible.
So his message was quite interesting, because he said that he was a channel for the wise elders, the Indians. Mm. And so I started doing quite a lot of work with him, or rather he started doing quite a lot of work with me, I think. I think it was that way around. I don't think I had much choice in the matter. And so I'd like to just read you, he had a great insight. Again, the insight is about the human race.
Can I just ask you, Pat, before we get to that point, what was the lameness to do with? What was that referencing in his owner then?
I don't think it was referencing anything in his owner in this particular case. I think it was referencing that he wanted to get her attention, so she would go off and because she'd met me, and around that time it was a new relationship, she didn't know of me. When I told her what I did, she went, oh, not immediately, but it was about 2 weeks later, and she said, you know, could you do, she'd already said, well, could you do one? And I said, yes, of course, anytime. But then this happened, and then of course she was forced into contacting me.
So that was his way of, or her way of getting
Yeah.
the communication from you to her. So was there anything in the information apart from him wanting her attention? Was there something specific? I mean, that's a pretty dramatic thing.
There was a project that that I was going to be working on with this lady in the future, and he was there also to give us some information on that.
Oh, okay. So,
but what was interesting to me was that he was a channel, and I didn't really think about who might be speaking through him. I just accepted it was coming from source. But he said, I used to run free as a wild horse, and you know, he was around, you know, the sacred Indians, you know, the Indian tribes, and who respected the horse, or horses in general. So his comparisons that were going to come up with the lack of respect that we often show to horses. So that was part of his main message as well.
okay.
And that theme developed over a period of months. So it is possible I could do something with that material, but it's that sort of passed through for me now. But it was interesting for me to revisit it, because he was one of the animals that really got me, because I was still quite new to animal communication at that time. So he was quite responsible for taking me to the next level. And he was very insistent as well. So it was often spontaneous. I wouldn't be actually looking for a reading, but you know, it would come, and then I had a whole batch of them, probably 50 or 100 over a period of a year or two. They're all little, quite small pieces as well, so they're not long, but you know, it's quite interesting what he addressed, what he saw from the horse's perspective, living as a domestic animal in this particular time of the universe.
Lovely. So have you got something that you want to share with us that he actually...
Yeah, I've got a couple, and the first one is called Horses Healing. I'm just going to adjust my light so I can see this better. That's not affecting you, is it?
No,
Horses Healing. There is nothing more healing than the horse. So sensitive, they pick up every emotion and every thought in the human's energetic field. They can merge within the human aura, understand and reflect everything back to the human to release. Horses create a safe and sacred place for humans to release their fears, worries, hurts or traumas. So come into the heart space of their heart. There is no judgment there, only a deep wish to heal broken hearts. So what they like you to do is, if you stand, I think I've mentioned this before, but if you actually stand next to a horse, put your heart against their heart, they can deeply connect with your heart anyway, because they're naturally heart-centered animals. But a lot of people have felt a great sense of peace come over them if they're able to stand in the physical presence of a horse as well.
Yeah, lovely. That's gorgeous.
And the next one was kindness. He says, kindness is sadly lacking in the world. Kindness and respect for animals is pretty low on the list. We can be set aside in a minute with no thought to our present future welfare. So as you treat us, you treat yourself. So watch out, for one day you too may become disposable, dispatched at a whim and discarded on the heat of man's indiscretion.
Oh my goodness, wow. Woof.
I did say to you, he doesn't hold back.
But
I mean, it's when you really look at that, and you can think we are very careless. We can be very careless around our animals. We can be take them for granted. I mean, we're careless in our relationships sometimes, aren't we?
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, if you think you can get away with it, actually, it'll probably come and bite you on the bum. That's basically what he said.
Yeah, that's absolutely great.
I really like that. He's written a few, and I've forgotten how sharp he could be. It was like, really makes you think. And the last one is in the present moment. Animals live in the now, in this very minute. We may gaze across the hills, our thoughts of many moons ago, when we ran wild in a herd with no one to trap and enslave us. You see, man enslaves himself, and unfortunately us also. No wonder he does not feel free.
Mm. Yeah, lovely.
They're short, aren't they? But
Yes.
very powerful, I think.
Yes, no, I agree with you. That's lovely. And yeah, I don't know if you've got a little book with horse quotes in the cooking there, but I think that would be great. You know, just one of those lovely little small.
Yeah, it could develop into something. I haven't really taken it any further because it was just something that I went through for a year or so and enjoyed doing it. And you know, it's like we do all these things, don't we? You put it on the back burner and you don't really think about it. You go on to the next thing. Then I was getting involved in a much bigger project and sort of, it wasn't bypassed, but do you know what I mean? It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for that, Pat. Is there anything else you wanted to share on that side of things?
I have got something from St Francis, if you'd like to hear that.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
I've got
This is our animal segment, so we're
yeah. I just think that because he continues the theme. St Francis has gave me this a while back, and he calls it the nobility of the horse. The nobility of the horse is well documented, but what people do not recognise is their core essence, their inner heart. Not only the noble heart, but a heart that is full of unconditional love. As we know, animals, but particularly horses, have been used in a variety of ways for the benefit of mankind. They have gone to war, they've been used as dray horses, tilled the land, and more recently helped organisations like the police. There are horses that now help our disabled children and the mentally disturbed. These horses are truly sentient beings, and yet sometimes man still does not sometimes fully respect horses, and they can be used indiscriminately as we are not always aware of their sensitivity. We often put appropriate equipment on their bodies, particularly bits in their mouth which can be painful, and often they get pushed to their limits in such sports as horse racing whilst being used in a machine-like manner. They are not respected as an animal that breathes and feels just like us, and in fact often very little respect is shown to this beautiful animal. He is also often moved around several times in his life without a thought for his mental health and the distress it may cause from being torn from his friends and families on a whim. Often moved when he has served his purpose and is not considered worthy of being a beloved member of a human family. The horse is unique and has the ability to shine his light, to enter man's heart and bring about a true inner awakening. This gift is something man has to realise sooner rather than later. It is their unique gift to man, and yet man is often totally unaware of a spiritual being that can bring him so much enlightenment. He is a brave warrior in more ways than one. He is a seeker of the truth. But so many times man turns his back on this spiritual warrior, this wonderful sentient being of light and love. But to the ones that understand, who do really connect the innate beauty and sensitivity of the horse, know they can be truly enlightened by his wisdom and his amazing ability to be with us and connect to us heart to heart. And it is this connection that will bring us our enlightenment. And now, as the world is gradually becoming more enlightened, man can become aligned with his own soul, a soul that craves its own recognition of love. This is what the horse can give us, not only their unconditional love, but a unique understanding of the complexities of the soul of man. They can look deep within man's spiritual soul, a soul that struggles to understand the evidence of this unique link between man and beast. The horse is one animal that can bring true enlightenment to the hearts of men. And you will see evidence of this in future years. When you work with horses and come into full alignment with them, their heart centers will touch the hearts of men, and in time will become a normal and proactive relationship between man and beast. So to all the pioneers who are bringing in the awareness of the mighty horse gifts to mankind, I thank you. Be vigilant in this work to honor the mighty horse, so many will get to understand his power and the beneficial effects that he can bring to both animals and mankind, because now this is of paramount importance. As you can see from these writings, it is my wish that all mankind learns to respect and truly understand and become aligned to all animals at soul level. There is much important work to be done, and even if you feel downhearted or misunderstood, sometimes you know that pioneer work has its price. But I implore you to continue with this good work, because the illumination of mankind is now so vital to the future welfare of both man and beast. And it is the horse, with its inherent beauty and nobility, that will shine its light on mankind, breaking down all barriers. So full emotional restoration can take place in the hearts of all who are so troubled in mind, body and spirit.
Well, lots of powerful elements in that, aren't there? I mean, we can all see where that has a lot of relevance. So, yeah, thank you for that. And for those who don't have animals or not interested in animals, that's fine too, but spare a thought for a kindly attitude toward the horse and animal strata of life, because we all need compassionate kindness. So, yeah. So Penny, I know you've got your couple of lovely kitties, George and Phoebe. Are you aware of any sort of communication with them? Do you sense it quite strongly?
Yes, I do. They know when if they're fast asleep and I go near them and lean, they know what they wake up. They know I'm there. So, and I know that it's from the heart energy, just as Pat was saying, and that's how the animals are very much tuned into. Which was I know they are teachers, and I did say I was going to find that animal channeling that was done in 2003, and I've got the hard copy. I will next week if that's okay.
Yeah.
Put that to hand to read out, because I do sense, and I'm very, very sad at the way humans have been taught to treat animals, and some of it's through the religions.
Yes.
Energy medicine.
Hello everybody, we're just continuing now with Penny, just picking up on energy medicine as we were.
Energy medicine, with the Donna Eden. I was thinking of a link with animals, and I thought straight away, well, our animals are energy, they're heart energy, and they're also medicine. They're our medicine. Look at the native peoples, the indigenous peoples, so I've got a big link with them. I remember being luckily in the States some years ago we were the only white people at the Sioux powwow. I've never, they'd never hurt anything, and I know they have to eat, but that brings in the book on the Diana, because this is a book that I just picked up, as you do, and I think that when I knew Ann Stewart very well. She's the channel.
All right.
And she died a while back because she had brain tumours and went down the medical route. And Jack Stewart, her husband, is a big tall guy, absolutely fantastic. I'd done workshops with them. I did some dowsing, and on the back, because she was such compassionate lady, and it opened the heart chakra of the world when she passed away. And linking again with Pat's story of the horse that died, in a funny way, it was the right time for her to go because of the way the world responded. And that really brought up the level of the collective consciousness of humans, because, she wouldn't harm a thing. And that's the symbol that came through to Anne. And it's a bifilar spiral, apparently. It's an ancient symbol. And before I knew anything about it, I was just doing this, swinging the pendulum around and doing some dowsing, finding out that it would help. Now I'm just trying to think, it would help, let's say, open the heart chakra and help humans protect themselves against the frequencies. We're coming back to frequencies now. At that time, we're going back a few years now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anne channeled Princess Diana from 2011 to about 2014.
Okay.
And when I contacted Anne, because I went to the workshops, they only lived about Warrington way, which isn't far from where I am now, and they'd done workshops reasonably locally. And I remember going to one, and I'd contacted Jack and said about what, because if I have a revelation from dowsing, I like to share it. And you know what they said? Diana's channeling had actually just said that same thing, that the symbol she gave was going to help humans protect themselves from the frequencies. And they had it made into a glass pendant. And funny enough, I thought to myself, well, is that symbol, the bifilar spiral, is so powerful? Why has it got to be? Why can't you just sort of, chalk it somewhere? And then I found out the first website I looked at was learning about glass. It's made from earth, air, fire, and water. And it's powerful. It's funny, isn't it, when you get an idea or a thought or an emotion, and then something comes straight in like a synchronicity. Yeah, and that's happening a lot now, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh no, yeah. It really is. And Pat and I have been speaking about this last 8 days. It's related to cars, but nevertheless, it's synchronicities and incredible symbolism and other links. So that it's across the board.
But saying the page I opened, just like this, was where she's talking about animals. She says, oh, look at this. She says, I want to talk today, this is her channel, about how we treat animals. The same as that. How we mistreat animals, animal abuse, which is widespread. Some of it I know is through ignorance, some of it just through cruelty. And I want you to think of what the world would be like without these beautiful creatures, how quiet, how silent, how it would lack the vitality of the horses and cattle and sheep in the field on a summer's day, and how desolate it would be without the beauty of the animals in our countryside. They are living energy, just like you and I. And of course they have feelings and emotions, just like you and I. And when you have an animal, whether it's a horse, dog or cat, they become your true loyal friends. And they would never hurt you either physically or mentally. And so it goes on about, I ask you to be aware of this, and to me there is nothing more cruel than the way some animals are kept prior to slaughter. And this links in with our consciousness as well, so I'll just give that as
which is one of the reasons I became a vegetarian, actually, which has been for many donkey's years now. And this is my choice, so anybody else you can eat what the heck you want. But I back in the day when I became a vegetarian, there was quite a lot coming out about just that subject, Penny, about the terrible treatment of animals before slaughter. It was abhorrent. It probably still is, to be honest, in a lot of places around the planet, but I just couldn't be part of it.
No, same here. Same here.
Yeah.
She says, yes, you will eat your huge juicy burger, but if you knew how these animals were kept, you'd probably spit it out very quickly. I thought.
Oh yes, well, there was I don't have a lot of conversations about being a vegetarian, but when I was first a vegetarian, a lot of carnivores found it very hard. I mean, I didn't find it hard to be, for them to carry on eating meat, but they found it hard for me to be a vegetarian. Weird. And they kept challenging me. They wanted to fight. They want to, why are you a vegetarian? Like, some weirdo. Well, no, hey, what about the ethics? What about this? Anyway, that off depending on who you're talking to. But, each to their own. And, it's not that you can do so much, but you make a little impression. You do what you can. And as I said, I don't care what other people have, but it was just that, and it was taking a stand in whatever way you can. It doesn't matter that you're not standing on a stage shouting about it. That was just what I could do. And you know what, I definitely could not ever go back. I know quite a few vegetarians, long-time vegetarians, who have then gone back for mainly nutritional reasons to eat meat.
12 and things like that.
I think is very weird. But anyway, that's what they say their body needs. And some of these diets that require blood types, for example, A positive, which I am, you have to, have a meat diet. Not a way in the world that that's happening, but I don't care what other people do. It's each their own. As I said.
The main thing with flesh foods, more so I think with meat than fish, but I still, I was talking about fish singing in the sea and so on, and the water, is it's acidic and it can be very toxic, especially with the antibiotics that they're giving, the growth hormones and stuff like that. And it just brings down your light body, it cuts you off from the universe. So you cannot expand this incredible light body that we are, the Merkaba, that we are expanding hugely. And no coincidence, but I had the latest book of Magenta Pixie. I was talking about the black box program and the rose gold flame as antidote.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about Magenta Pixie? Because people don't know her.
I didn't know about her till perhaps 2 years ago. That's the one, the black box. There's the triquetra, the symbol there. That's interesting. And a friend told me about her. And normally, a lot of my spiritual teachers are from America. I bet you can link in with that. So it's lovely to see somebody from the New Forest, and she's
in England.
Lovely lady. And what she was saying with this, the black box meaning the dark cabals and the bloodline, and also the other interdimensional beings that think that they've got the right to treat us like worse than cattle. And I really like what she was saying. So this is the book now. It's let me read it. Lessons from a Living Lemuria. Lemurian Atlantis. There's interesting stuff in here, and it's to do with nutrition.
Oh, really interesting.
And the questions that she was asked to ask the White Wing, the Council of Nine, the ET group that she channels. She's made this amazing book. I've only got a little way through, even though I've been on the train today with a scarf and I didn't have it on. No way, these masks, no way. I'm thinking of masks. Look, this is from 2009. This is from Ian Crane.
The Truth Injection.
What picture?
Oh God, yeah, 2009. Oh right, yeah.
I've got a DVD of this, and I was there when he gave his present. And it starts off with trillions saying no to the vaccine.
Can you just put that image up again, Penny? Because the camera was focusing on me, and if you speak now, it should pick you up.
Ian Crane, a presentation he did that's filmed called The Truth Injection. It was 2009 when the phony swine flu pandemic was created, and there were nano microchips in the vaccination needles. I think I've mentioned this before, but look at the picture on the DVD case. I thought that was And I said, I think last time, look at that one, there's a skull there, look at that one.
Yeah, it is.
Stuck in the left. The 9, and then what's happening now, 11 years later, 9/11, the numbers are there. And apparently I was told today by somebody who'd done a lot of research that this COVID-19, C, meaning C, Ovid is another, I think it's Hebrew or something for sheep.
I mean, yeah, it's Latin for sheep, yeah.
It has a link to surrender. See the sheep surrender. Oh, no way. So anyway, going back to Magenta.
No way here.
I get sidetracked. Well, things link together, don't they? This is amazing.
Yes.
And it's all about the nutrition, and it's absolutely opening portals. She calls about the right-wing collective consciousness are they're very gentle with their transmission, and like you've just said, Joanna, that people are on their own pathway, and the questions that are being asked, well, you know, why should we be made to feel as meat eaters guilty? And that's not what they're saying. And they're saying about the way that eating the flesh foods, literally, as I've been saying, affects your consciousness, affects your way you can ascend.
Yeah.
I've been picking that up with dowsing quite a lot, and why it's just suddenly come up recently, I don't know, but I'm finding a lot of, especially when I saw the queues when, what's the burger place that's just opened?
Oh, is it McDonald's?
Oh, the queues in Lancaster. The cars, they were hundreds and hundreds of yards, you know, and I do know for certain, I think it was McDonald's, and I've seen papers of this in 2015, a lot of the babies that were used in rituals and so on were ground up when were died and put into the fast food, burgers and things like that. So they've been actually eating these, you know, but it's horrible, isn't it? That is the level that's going on. So I found that what this book is, it all talks about alcohol as well. So not only about the flesh foods cutting off your connection to the universe, and obviously there being acidic and very toxic, according to, they said if you have to eat a small amount of meat, make sure it's reliably sourced and well looked after. The animals are cared for, which is the same as a farm near where I live up here called, oh crumbs, the name's gone out my head. It'll come back. A wonderful farm that's diversified and everything. The cows are really kept brilliantly. Not that I go back to having even cow's milk, because they're saying as well about they're saying have coconut milk. They love, this is the transmission from the UTs, have things like, from the coconuts. And also they're talking about alcohol. That is so important, especially with the pubs. Apparently you have to book in for a pub and order your pint a day before or something like that. Not that I do that. Not that I do that. But yeah, saying exactly what I found, because my sister died in 2016, she was my age. She'd been an alcoholic for 30 years. And when I checked her out, she'd got a dark energy come in and a dark entity attachment. And that's exactly what the transmission of the white wing collective consciousness is saying, that alcohol can do that. Yeah. Obviously not a little tiny bit of Benedictine, that's different. That's all right. And they're saying that small amounts, especially, and they talk about honey and sugar, and I've just started it, so I really can recommend. It's her latest book just out, and she really is the most amazing channel, and she's fun as well. And if you watch,
that's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so great. So that will probably link in with the other thing that I was going to talk about, which was the Pleasant Quantum Rise initiative.
Yeah, now people will not know what that is, so could you
I'm trying to how can link it. Yeah, it's to do with creating the new societies, the new way of living, because although what we've been experiencing with the I call it the scamdemic, there's going to be some very good spin-offs. There's going to be some excellent avenues that are going to be put in front of us. They're already in front of us. And what I feel this is one of them. And it's a very good website that's up and running. And the way I came across it was from a friend who hosted the Mare and Kesh plasma workshops.
Oh, right. Okay, that wonderful
At his
man.
farm called Pleasant Rise Farm, Alfriston, in East Sussex.
Oh, yes, that's really not far from where I am.
Yeah, and he is amazing guy with retired, well, ex-policeman. He came out called Ray Savage. Do have a look, and also it's linked up with the manager now of this initiative. There's a guy called Mike Upstone, who's working from Austria, and I came across him as well. There's another connection there, not that many years ago, with the Swiss Indo, which was like a gold-backed currency, which is now coming back up again, where there's a big reset in the money and the, you know, the world depends on, which we know is fiat currency, the bankers and so on. Won't go into that. I haven't got time. And so Mike Upstone is the manager of it, and I had a little Zoom meeting with him last week, and he's really, really keen to have as many people, obviously.
And what's the website there, Penny?
Pleasantly, I've got a website. I'm gonna
Did you say there's a good website about it?
If I can move my camera, I'm taking it. Whoops.
She's
Hang on
gone.
now, sorry.
Oh my God.
No, I can't do it. Damned up. I was going to show you the website I've got here. Has got a lovely diagram. Am I back on track now? Yeah, sorry about that. It's got a diagram of. I'll just find it. I'll get it up again.
So this pleasant quantum rise,
Yes.
is that then the name of a new kind of society base, or are they working with free energy technology?
It's an initiative at the moment, and it's called. Wait a minute. It's from survivability to thrivability. I'm reading it now.
Yeah.
PQR is an open source model to help people to transition themselves from survivability to thrivability. As many people as possible, as quickly as possible. There's a template for integrating food production, home, community, building, waste reduction, advanced self-healing, and a lot more. And it's got a link to contact the PQR team, would be very welcome. And there's a diagram, like a causal diagram with links to everything. Pure water, energy, protection, healing, fractal structure, now that interests me. Community, thrivability, high quality
so
food.
That Pleasant Quantum Rise, is that the name of the website as well?
Yeah, pleasantquantumrise.com.
Right.
And it looks really, and I did do some dowsing on it. Let's do this. Sorry.
Right, okay.
And it looks really,
I'll put that up
good.
in the links afterwards as well.
Yeah, and the going from a link to that, the causal diagram, which shows the links, reminds me, this is something else that's come into my consciousness since last week, of the Q map. I don't know if you've come across it.
I couldn't speak to it. I haven't really looked at it that much.
QAnon, Q map. It's somebody who's, and there's a t-shirt, I've got to get this t-shirt. The Q map has been put on a t-shirt. And again, it's I find coming in as, as 1944 as an indigo, I can deal with the dark stuff. Some people can't. I had a friend who was so sensitive, so compassionate. She loved her animals. Her animals were everything. You couldn't even say anything about anything untoward or cruelty to animals. Just say it. But I've been able to cope. Certainly not so much with animals. That's difficult for me. But with the way they've been treated, the shooting, hunting, fishing, killing. As I said before in one of the last, one of the other ones, early Latte Lounge, if I saw the Queen and her entourage out shooting birds out the sky, I'd march over and just jolly well tell her to pack up and shove off and go.
Yeah, shove off.
But
so tell us just what the Q map's about, Penny.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like it, because the more and more, I've been a researcher, and especially health researcher, for quite a few years, and also I've been an observer. I'm a people watcher, and I'm very interested on everything that's going on, knowing that when we are going along this pathway of as I said before, through the shite into the light, sorry about my language, is part of our soul mission and why we chose to incarnate on this planet at this moment in time. And I realized before very long that the whole of this incredible dumbing down, deliberate harm and depopulation is enormous. It's as David Icke has done the pyramids of power. Up they go, 1, 2, 3. It's enormous. It's so big. And what this chap has done, this guy, I forget his name, is create so many different areas of this control faction in a map with all the links. It all links together. It's incredible. It's called the Q map. So when you get a chance, do have a look, and I'm definitely going to buy the t-shirt. So
I will have a look.
By next Tuesday, I should be wearing it, and hopefully my camera will be able to go. Anyway, by the way, the only reason I bought this fleece is because it looks, can you see? It looks like birds have shat all over it.
Yeah, it does.
Isn't it?
I have to say it does, yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
I'll never forget when my husband's father-in-law, who worked in London, and apparently went into his office, and a load of pigeons had got over him, and the whole lot had come all over his back.
Oh, God.
It was quiet when he went in, but he had to wash his coat and everything.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. So I will be wearing the Q map. Yeah, and the other thing that came through that I think I'd like to just share, and this is an old magazine. I keep stuff. It's called, I don't know if I mentioned this before.
Oh, Namaste. Namaste, yes.
Yeah, no, it's not produced anymore, which is a shame. I met the guy that he was responsible for it. A lovely chap, and I knew somebody who was one of the editors. And I mean, things in it, because it had truth, a lot of dark stuff, a lot of good stuff, and humour. And I think that's excellent. So you've got the negative, the positive, and the laughs, the funnies, which I feel at the moment as well is so important. So
Yeah.
I've on the very, very last bit about the funnies before I leave you. That's something to do with Pam Ayres, but that's in a minute. That's in a minute. But this magazine is super. And what caught my eye, remember me talking about magnesium and the baths, Epsom salts, the
Yep.
flotations. The cholesterol, the magnesium connection.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
No, I hadn't. And it's a very, very good article by the connection between magnesium and cholesterol. Cholesterol theory is untrue and has served to deceive us by delaying discovery of the true causes.
Can you hold that up to the camera, Penny, because we're seeing
Yes,
it just off.
I'm just reading. Elevated cholesterol is caused by magnesium deficiency.
Oh, right. Well, that's
Magnesium
very
deficiency.
interesting.
And the number of people that I check out with dowsing, they've not got enough magnesium in the body. And I think I said this before, we need double the amount of magnesium as sea salt. And we need as much sea salt in our bodies as the percentage of the oceans, the salt in the sea. Now, how salty is that?
Yeah.
How salty? So I thought that was fantastic. I didn't know that.
No.
Because of the cholesterol myth, that we've been, that's because statins. Good Lord, don't even get me started. Shocking.
No, that's, there's just so many little rabbit holes to go down. There's so much information. But look, I think that, this is absolutely fantastic. And you were going to finish off, Pens, I think, with some funnies. Because I've been getting, again, in people around me saying, because I'm really working flat out at the moment, doing all kinds of things. And they're saying, joy, you have to keep your energy up and your vibration up with joy. That's where it's going to come in.
And that laughing is the one thing that the vagus nerve will really respond to. Honestly, and singing. Well, she doesn't sing, Pam Ayres, but she's so funny. I picked this up at a charity shop for about £1, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the funniest one was the Wonder Bra. That is online, but it's not as good as in the DVD. Honestly, it's absolutely super. And there's another one that is online, and it's talking about, she tells the story of her father, who was a big, tall guy, very upright and very, good looking. And her mum had knitted him a swimsuit out of ginger wool. Really went into the sea.
Oh,
But when he came
oh
out,
dear. Was there still any swimsuit on him?
oh my gosh, he is absolutely, totally, and utterly hilarious. Good old Paris. I haven't heard from her lately, but one of the recordings online was dated 2014, so I'm hoping she's.
Yeah. So I think on that lovely note, that's a great note to say. I hope you've enjoyed this, everybody. Another Latte Lounge. And I'm going to go off and get my sweet baked potato.
Well, I've got my latte here.
You've got your latte for the Latte Lounge. Yes, I did have a coffee earlier,
today.
but not a latte. I hope that Weatherspoons will sort that out for me eventually. Pat, thank you as well. Sorry, Penny, go on.
I was going to say, when I was motoring down towards the bottom of Kirkhead Road, where I live in here at Kent's Bank Station, there's a lot of trees at the bottom, and what made my day is two deer, beautiful, leapt out of there and went straight across where, in front of my car. Luckily, I wasn't going very fast, and I'm mesmerised, and then they just bounded off, and I thought, I wonder if in the past life I was a deer. I don't know.
Oh, that's
gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful. What a gifting! What a gifting!
Yeah.
Well, I just before I do say goodbye completely, I believe that I have a visitor who's a seagull that I rescued when he was a baby. He fell onto my little balcony area, quite injured and unable. And within a month, I brought him on in July. And he was that big old teenager squawking away, but from this little tiny fluffy thing that needed a lot of support. And this one seagull kept coming on the balcony area near where Pat and I were doing some work. And I said, I wonder if that's Jonathan. I used to call him Jonathan Livingston Seagull, of course, after the Richard character. I love that. It's fantastic. If people don't know about, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, best short book to read ever, and there is an audio version. But one of the things that he did when he was a baby, he was very clumsy. He would get his foot in the water and somehow knock it, and then he actually made himself slightly lame for about a week after hobbling around, but then he was okay. But he did the same thing, because I was thinking, well, how would I know if it's Jonathan? Because those guys look the same to me. And then he went and put his foot in the water. I thought, that's Jonathan. And it's just this one really coming back. So I was looking up the significance of seagulls as a totem, and part of the thing I'm doing is clearing a lot of clutter and a lot of administration stuff, a lot of all of that, and that's partly to do with that, but they're also incredibly resourceful, incredibly intelligent, incredibly vocal, and standing their ground as well. So it's all of that. So on that wonderful note, I'll say thank you, my lovely ladies, for joining me once again on the Latte Lounge. And if we're all very lucky, we might make next week. So we're going to have, I'm just going to go for 10 episodes. So we'll have number 9 next week, and that'll be the penultimate one. So we'll find something fabulous. Just
have a break and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Penny, my lovely lady, thank you very much up there in Cumbria. Thanks for sharing. And Pat, thank you very much. And your kitty's no doubt supervising your session today.
Oh, yeah.
That's Pops and Patch.
Yeah.
Pops, yeah.
Pops and Patch and George and Phoebe and maybe Jonathan outside yawking away. All right, everybody, take care. Have a wonderful July to come, and I shall be having a lovely birthday. All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Good meeting.